Hey, Steve Gamache here with a kind of thoughts and review on a pocket knife pass around. Lapus was on the forums was kind enough to pass around his Benchmade knife, and so I've had it for a week or so, and just going to throw out some thoughts on what I like about it, what's different about it from my two everyday carries that I kind of change around. So what he sent was a Benchmade 707 sequel. It's a McWilliam and Henry design, and I'm not going to go into specs and stuff and statistics on all these knives. You can look up what they are. I'll tell you what they are. I'll put it on the screen with a title. But anyway, so this is, again, the McWilliams and Henry design Benchmade 707 sequel, which is made out of 154 cm steel. It has their Axis lock mechanism, and it's also got thumb studs on it with feels like a little bit of a, really not much, I don't think it has much of an assist. I think it's just really smooth, so it's a lot smoother than what I'm used to. I've also, my EDCs have been, I don't have a lot of pocket knives, so I don't have a ton of experience with a whole bunch of different kinds, but this is a Spyderco native. It's not the native 5, it's the original native, so that's CPM S30V steel, and it, we'll get to some more specifics on it, but I also have a Delica 4, Spyderco Delica 4 in VG10. So I guess let's see, back real quick, the Spyderco, and this is kind of what I'm used to, is the locking mechanism being on the spine, so a lock back style. I'm also used to the thumb stud as far as, deployment goes. So having or not thumb stud, the thumb hole, excuse me. So pretty used to the thumb hole on these as far as deployment goes. I had a different knife that was a SOG that had the thumb studs, but anyway, so this is kind of what I've been used to for a couple years now. The handle on this one's a bit bigger, and also the Delica 4, it's a little bit longer as well, so you get quite a bit of more meat in your hand in terms of the Benchmade, but the Benchmade has a more rigid feel because of its construction. It's got aluminum, I think, scales and also liners, and it's got a little bit of a G10 inlet or inlay on both sides for a little bit of grip. It doesn't have a ton of grip compared to these other two, especially the Delica's got a lot of grip on its FRN handle, but you can kind of see the difference. The blade is overall longer on the other two, but in terms of usable space, you can see actual space, the blade has more cutting area on the Benchmade versus the native, and also has a little bit more versus the Delica 4 as well. So the overall package is a little smaller, as you can see, but the blade size is bigger, in relation to that in terms of usable space. If we shrink them down here, I'll kind of give you an idea. So this is a smaller carry in my pocket, which is a pretty sweet deal. And this one's set up for right-hand carry. The other two, I'm a lefty, so I've got them set up for left-hand carry, tip up. But the Benchmade, I'm really impressed with it. It's the first one that's, a good quality one I've ever had for any length of time, other than like in a store playing with it. And it's really smooth compared to the other two, but it is twice the price of these other two knives. Are around the $70, $75 range. This one's like $140, I think. So definitely higher end on the price scale. It's also much smoother, so it's real easy to deploy. And I really like the lock back as well. One of the things I don't like about these Spydercos that I only found out after trying to do some hard use of them is I've done some hard use scenarios where I've actually pushed down and depressed the release and had it start to come down on me, and that's pretty disconcerting when you're trying to do some hard work on something. So that's something I'm not real crazy about with those, and I didn't do any hard type work with this one because it's not my knife, but I suspect this and also maybe the liner lock might be less susceptible to that, so that's one advantage of that. So I like the size, I like the weight similar to these other two. It's a little more compact design. I like the deep carry clip, which is optional. He included that as well. These two do not have deep carry clips, but this one does, and I do like the way that rides in my pocket a little lower. Also, this has a little more belly towards the tip, the Benchmade, than these other two, especially the native. Native's more of a spear point, and it's not a good or bad thing. It's just different. So when I go to use the point on something, I got to raise the knife a little bit higher to get that pointing arc from opening a package or something. This one you can go a little lower, and that's again just different. It's like kitchen knives. You got different profiles on them, and you kind of adjust accordingly. So. Anyway, in a nutshell, what I really like is the size. I like the rigidity of it. It's a nice quality package and very stout, sturdy, nice precise feel to it, nice lockup, very smooth deployment. Those are the things I really like. The other Spydercos are a little bit meatier on the handle, but again, it's a little bit bigger package. And the blades themselves, I'm trying not to make this too long, but let me kind of crank the focus in so you can get an idea close up. So this one's got basically a full flat grind that goes most of the way up, and then you've got a false grind swedge at the top, and that kind of thins the spine out, and it thins out fairly well towards the tip. The owner has sanded this tip down a little bit to clean it up from some previous damage, so it's got a little bit different finish right at the end there. Not uncommon. I've done that on oil knives before. The Native has kind of a partial hollow grind and a concave grind and a little bit of a false grind at the top as well, and the tip is reasonably thin as well. And then this particular Delica is not the standard full flat grind. It is their tactical model, and you can see it's half serrated, but it's also got a saber grind, and the spine is quite a bit thicker down near the tip. So this one's more heavy duty by the tip. I've sanded it down to clean up some edge issues to get a pointy tip on it again. You can see that, but definitely much stouter at the tip than the other two. Whoop, that helped. Anyway, you can kind of see the difference there. So, impressed with this knife. I'm going to be exploring some other options. I love the size, so something a little smoother. It's kind of cool. So anyway, this is thoughts and musings on the Benchmade 707 McWilliam and Henry sequel from Lapis. Thanks a lot for the pass around. Going on to the next person. Appreciate it.